Morning, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to WestysAngling. You're joining us back at Low Mill Lodge today in Chorley, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I feel like things are getting a little bit stagnant on the channel, a little bit samey, so I wanted to mix it up and try a completely different type of fishing. So today we're going to be dead baiting for pike. Now, I'm told that Low Mill Lodge is very good for pike fishing. There's plenty of smaller pike in here, and they go to around £17 that the owner knows of. That's been out recently anyway. He said they might go bigger, but he doesn't want to promise anybody, which is fair enough. So we've got some dead baits with us, we've got some smelt, and we've got some roach. As you can probably tell, it's absolutely chucking it down again. We never have any luck with the weather. My dad's just cast out his first dead bait there. He's got it on a float setup. And is that a smelt or a roach, Dad, that you've chucked out there?
Smelt. So
he's just chucked out a smelt. I'm going to be fishing in two different ways today. I'm going to have a float set up, and I'm also going to have a running bottom ledger as well. So that's my float setup. Really easy to rig up, these folks. Very instructive diagram on the back there, can't be simpler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it all rigged up and then I'll talk you through it. But very simple. So that's a float setup. Like I said, I've already got my running ledger on. So with the trebles, it's barbless here. So what I've done is I've filed the barbs down on the trebles, and I've just left one barb on each, and that's for going in the dead bait so the dead bait doesn't come off. And that's just a simple running ledger, bit of rig tubing up the line just in case, and a 2.5 ounce lead. I have got the black pearl with me today, so I'll be dropping a dead bait out over there next to the overhangs, next to the snags where the pike are going to be sat. And the float bait I'll just have straight out from here on the pole line where the silverfish anglers will probably be fishing on the pole. That's where the pike are going to be. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably get the dead bait out on the bottom on the running ledger first over there, and then we'll set the float rig up. Right folks, let's get this other rod out the way. I'm just using my 2¼ test curve opportunist extend rods. Plenty heavy enough for the size of pike that are in here, and 15-pound main line on my Pen Affinity reels, which is what I use for carp fishing. Just a quick side note before we get this dead bait out in the black pearl: make sure you've got the right unhooking tools and stuff like that, pliers and stuff if you're coming pike fishing. And like I said, make sure that you crush the barbs on your trebles. You want to be able to unhook the pike as easy as possible. You don't want to leave any lasting damage, especially on a coarse fishery like this. So it's probably going to be fairly difficult to see the rigs up close on the GoPro, so I might make a separate video at a later date showing you how to rig these up. But it's really simple. Think of a carp rig but with double trebles on the end. Literally can't be simpler. So I'm just going to find the treble that's still got the barb on. There's the treble, and then just short enough these, and then another one through the edge of the bait there, and there you go. That's your roach bait. It's probably a little bit small, this roach bait, for them trebles, but it is what it is. That's what they had in the tackle shop, and that's what we've got. So I'm just gonna chuck this in the bait boat, wire trace on that side, and drop it in. Simple as that. I'll open my bail arm, get the black pearl in the water, take the remote out, which will help. There we go, bail arm's open. So I'm going to drop that out the back of the bait boat, and then we're going to leave that. There we go, so that's the back opened. Just going to close my bail arm and tighten up. Want my drag fairly loose because I want to get indications on this, and then I'll tighten up and strike into the fish when we get a bite. I need to be straight on it when you get a few bleeps, you want to be lifting into the pike, because you don't want the pike to completely swallow the bait, because it just makes it a nightmare for unhooking. Turn my volume up a touch as well. Right, let's get the black pearl back, and then we'll tie up our float rig, which I'm just going to have just out from here. Quite difficult to film today because it's absolutely chucking it down. I honestly think we've got more chance of getting a pike closer in here. So we can swap them over, we can try down to that tree, we can try over here to this tree, move them about today. Literally just pike fishing today, that's it. I did bring some PVA bag rigs in case I wanted to try for the carp, but to be honest with you, I think it's probably a good idea just to try something different and stick to the piking all day. And if we don't catch, we don't catch. It is what it is. So even if we don't catch today, you're still going to get a good idea of how the rigs work and the setup and things like that. First thing I'm going to do is take a float stop and put that on the line. Like I said, this is a 15-pound main line, fairly heavy duty carp setup, so you can just use your carp fishing stuff. You don't have to go out and buy specialised gear, just different hooks. So I'm going to slide that down the line as far as I want it. So it's an adjustable rig, you can fish at different depths, that's the point of it. Then I'm going to put a little bead on. Comes with all these things, folks. There's a kit. For anybody wondering, the name of this float kit is Fladen Float Set Gadda Pike 14 gram. So I'm guessing Gadda is a different language for pike. I'm not sure which language, you'll have to comment down below and tell me. Float goes on next. Float will go on this way, with the visible end to the rod tip, obviously. The beads are obviously just used as a buffer to stop things damaging your line. Then your sinker, which holds the dead bait straight down. It's very rough, that sinker. I can imagine that cutting my line if I'm not careful. Then another bead. Sorry if this is hard to see on the GoPro, guys. Doing my best. Then I'm going to untie my trebles, ideally without kinking the wire. There we go. Quite far apart, these trebles. My dad's picked up these rigs. So yeah, they're pretty far apart. I'm going to have to bend the wire around the smelt, I think. That way it's just going to shorten this a little bit and allow me to hook both hooks into the smelt. Okay folks, so now I'm going to tie this on with a strong knot. I'm going to use a Palomar knot. And then bring all the trebles back through. A bit fiddly this, because they'll catch on the line. There we go. Tighten that down. Snip the tag end. And there we go. That's our pike float setup. So you've got a float stop there, then a buffer bead, then your float, then another buffer bead. Like I said, the buffer beads are just stop everything banging together and creating weaknesses on the line. You've got your sinker, and then another buffer bead down there near the swivel. Then that's just tied on. You've got your wire trace, and then you've got your trebles, which you hook into your pike bait, whatever that may be, roach, smelt, whatever. Simple. Right, let's get this out. Obviously with the float stop you can set your depth, so I'm going to try at about 3 foot deep first, which will probably be just off the bottom. I've not plumbed it, but I roughly know from last time we came how deep it is here. So right, let's go and get a smelt and we'll get this out. It's got me smelt here, premium blast frozen pike bait. Well, let's see. Smell like cucumber, these smelt. Very weird. Right, okay. So where's my barbed one? There. So I'm going to go into the head. Then I'm actually going to wrap round the bait a couple of times here. Reason being is the trace is way too long. Find my barbed end and go in again on the back. Also the smelt's quite a soft bait, so wrapping it round will just help it stay on. And there we go, smelt going out on the float rig. So I'm literally just going to put it down here, just out, not far out at all, and then put this on my bite alarm. I must be off bottom there because it's drifting slightly. So I've seen videos of them though when they take them straight off bottom on one of these ledger rigs, and they kind of suck the bait up. I've got a back lead on this in case obviously I get a run and it goes left over this other line.
So where have you put that one?
In middle over there between them two bushes, yeah. This one's floated into margin. Oh, rain's coming down, folks. I think it's time for a brew. Right, I'll switch you back on if we get anything. If not, I'll see you next time. Be a short video for you all. Take it easy, Dad. He's in. See, we don't know what we're doing, folks. Nice little pike, that, Dad. It's a good fish, that. Is that your biggest pike?
Yeah.
PB's getting broken. Right, I'll go and get my own hooking tool.
You don't need to. Oops, right.
See, this is one of the benefits of using barbless, folks, or filing the barb off. I think it's come out in the net. This is taking it off the bottom. Cracking pike.
Yep, PB pike.
Was that, so that was on the roach?
Yeah.
Brilliant, PB pike from my dad. What do you think? About £4?
£3,
£3, £4, something like that.
So,
First pike going back. Brilliant, well done, Dad. How about that, folks? First fish. That was my dad's first cast down here in the margin on the bottom bait. Absolutely epic, and I'm sure there was something playing with the bait on my float here. There's definitely something bumping that again, I think, as well. Just need to wait for it to sail away and then lift into it hard. I've actually not put my bobbin on this one this time, so I can strike into it if I need to without it being in the bobbin clip. Between us, we've only got another 2 smelt and probably about 8 roach. Well, that's absolutely epic, folks. Obviously we don't do a lot of pike fishing, so like I said, that was my dad's PB. Superb pike, and like I said, they go to about £17 in here, which is a decent pike. Owner was saying that they used to go to 30 back in the day in this lake. I'm not 100% sure how long I should be leaving the dead bait in before recasting or moving it. I think I should be pretty mobile with the baits. And you've got this mon here casting in your swim as well. Cheeky get. Thinks he's got a fish now, he absolutely owns the place. Right, I'm going to reel this one in. I'm going to put a dead bait down here, I think. Well folks, we're getting to the point now where we're nearly out of dead baits. I think next time we come, what we'll probably do is fish a little bit lighter and a little bit more mobile, and we'll probably move around the lake, trying different spots, maybe spend half an hour to an hour in one spot and then move on to the next spot. I think that's a much better way of doing this kind of fishing. Obviously we're used to normal course fishing, carp fishing, so we're used to just sitting in one spot and waiting. But with pike, with them being very territorial, what you'll find is they'll have spots that they'll stick to predominantly. So I think that's the better way of doing it, and what we'll probably do next time we come and do this kind of fishing. Somebody's obviously been lure fishing there. There's actually a pretty expensive lure in that tree there right in the end. I don't know how they managed to get it there, maybe from the other side, but that's 20 quid's worth of lure. It's just way too far out for me to get. Been thinking about strapping a couple of landing net handles together and try and pull it, but don't want to risk it. Absolutely beautiful setting here at Low Mill Lodge, especially now it's coming into autumn. All these trees changing colours, very natural lake. I think there's another lure over there in that other tree, so people must come here lure fishing. The owner of the lake doesn't mind you fishing mobile, as long as there's not too many other anglers on the lake, and clearly he doesn't mind you fishing with the lures, because like I said, there's a couple in the trees here. I'm going to reel this one in and try a little bit shallower. So I'm going to drop this down, right down. Fish about 2.5 foot deep. So my dad's got one of his dead baits over there to the overhanging dead tree, and he's got his float down here next to this tree, right in the snags. I'm trying mid-water because I've seen a couple of fish potentially being chased, little roach or skimmers or something, so I'm going to try open water but a little bit shallower, and we'll give it a go. That float's slowly drifting this way, which is what I want. I'm going to be able to cover a little bit more water that way with a little bit of a drift on it. God, it is picking up now, this rain. Oh dear. Just having one cast and the next swim along. Got a dead bait just out from these iris here, and obviously you can see where my float is there. Just out from the other side of this dead tree. I think the trick to this kind of fishing is definitely being mobile. So we'll travel light, we'll probably just have a chair, a couple of bank sticks and the rods, and just the basics, dead baits and things like that, and we'll just have maybe half an hour in each swim. So me and my dad have got a couple of dead baits left each. So what our plan is get most of the stuff packed away, literally just have our chairs out, nets, unhooking mats, put everything away, rod bag, backpack, everything, and we'll have a couple of casts down the bottom end, which the owner tells us is very good for pike, but he said early morning's best down the bottom end. But we're going to give it a go. We might as well on the way back out, and we'll see if we manage to pick up anything there. You never know, we might get one last fish. Just put a new roach on, folks. Like I said, bottom bait rig. I'm going to put over here next to this falling down tree here. We'll have half an hour there, half an hour in the next swim along, and then we'll probably call it a day. Okay folks, so we're going to call it a day there and get packed up. We're completely out of dead baits now and it's absolutely heaving it down, so we're going to get everything in the car and get on our way. Even though we haven't caught much, it's been an enjoyable session and it's good to bring something new to the channel. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Nice short video, and I hope you picked up a couple of tips from it as well. If you haven't tried Mill Lodge already, I'll put a link in the description. If you're local to the area, give it a go. It's a great place, lovely natural setting. So I just want to say thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next Westies Angling. Don't forget, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Loads of stuff coming on the channel, so there's plenty to look forward to, and I will be fishing throughout the autumn months into winter as well. Right folks, I'm going to get going before I get absolutely soaking. See you next time.